It's the fourth wave of the COVID-19 pandemic in Ghana, with the virus spreading many times faster than it was when a lockdown was imposed. This is the time when hundreds of people have gathered in offices of telecommunication companies seeking to get their SIM cards re-registered. Government requires all mobile phone users to register their SIM cards with their biometric data by March or have them disconnected from telecommunication services. But this process has been slow, leading to long queues. Many already frustrated. Manuel Cranting has been to the ground. Here's his report.
The past 3 days, since the working days in the year 2022 started, what we've seen at a lot of the outlets of the various telcos are long queues, as you can see in your shop, people attempting, to finish that exercise of merging their SIM card details with their national identification details. The problem, however, has been that the process has been, quite infamously slow, with a lot of them, having to spend days. There are people that I've spoken to here who have been here since Tuesday and are never able to complete this entire registration process. Well, the very first step is a self-help step with a short code where people could use their phones and then link their data to the National Identification Authority's data. The next step is to be at the, the outlet of the telcos for their biometric details and so on and so forth to be captured. Some of them have been in the queues for far too long, and it's becoming really frustrating for them. Let me speak to just a few of them and find out. Madam, what's your name? You're live on a Joy News channel. How long have you been here anyways?
Okay, I've been here yesterday. I came here yesterday around 6. I couldn't do it because after being through the line, they told me that I have to do some linking, and because I've done the linking yesterday, I cannot do it yesterday now, so I have to come next day. Yeah, it's today that I came back. They said there's no network, so we are still there.
What time did you get here today?
I get here around 7.
Around 7 a.m. and it's past 10 a.m. That's in excess of 3 hours.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going to happen. Yesterday you couldn't do it. Today, 3 hours gone, you've not been able to do. What's going to happen if you're unable to do this?
Oh, I'll feel bad because yesterday I didn't go work. Today I didn't go work. If I'm not able to do it today, that means tomorrow I have to come back again. You see, that means I've wasted all my 3 days doing nothing.
And tomorrow is a holiday.
Oh, okay. But even at that, me, I'll still go to work.
Okay.
Yeah.
What work do you do?
Me, I sell meat fry. Okay. I'm doing pastries.
Okay.
But I sell meat fry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So wish you all the best. We hope that you're able to eventually do the registration. Let me speak to this lady who's been quite agitated this entire morning. I've seen her walk up and down complaining. Madam, just speak to me briefly. I see you walk up and down with a lot of frustration. Tell me, what's your story?
It's very stressful being here. I've been here for more than 3 hours and we are not seeing anything. We are just standing here. We are quite tired too because there are no chairs for you to sit. Here comes the case. Tomorrow too is on a holiday. You can't come here unless Monday. Actually, I'll be going to school on Saturday. So if I don't do it today, I don't know when I can do it again.
I see. And the process has been running for quite a while now. It's not just starting this week. What's been your story? Why did you not do it all this while?
I traveled. Where I went, how they did it was that there was some people who comes to do it for you at home. I think if they do it that way, it will be a little better than all of us coming to join here. They can even send some of the agents to go to houses to do it for them. I think that one will be best.
I see.
Yes.
I see. Now talk to me. What do they tell you? You said you've been there 3 hours. What do they tell you?
They've not told us anything. They just told us that the network is not working.
Okay. The network?
Yes.
Okay. That's the platform they're using to do the registration?
Yes, right. As this time, that's what they are saying, that the network is not working.
Okay. So, Maps, these are some of the stories that we're seeing, in fact, hearing this morning. But it goes beyond people being just frustrated to physical tiredness. And we'll just turn around the camera for you to see people who really are, you describe as old people, really, wobbling legs and feet and all of that. They're now having to sit on the bare floor just as they wait for their turn to be able to go in there and register. Mommy, I'm a patron of
Emilia.
Aunt Emilia, I'm so what if I'm over here, same registration?
The bill. Phone registration.
Oh, the Ghana card no every year registration. Okay, now time ben I'll be do.
Ebe do about 6 o'clock na yewa.
Okay.
After now, yes, network in the whole chase.
The whole day say the whole day no corner say went to me and register by then.
Nah, so my coffee say minyata mbia meba.
Okay. Now what is saying?
66.
66. Okay, so Maps, this lady, she says her name is Emilia. She's 66 years old and she's come here to get her SIM card re-registered. She's been here since 6 a.m. as she just told me in Chi, but it's been giving the feedback that the network is down. And so having stood for more than 3 hours, her legs have given. And so she is now sitting on the floor waiting for her turn. And if at all, the system will begin functioning again. Otherwise, she would have to go back home and then attempt to come back.
I'll say a holiday by Monday, so movie Juma.
Okay, and so she says that she may attempt to come back again tomorrow or Monday when they open the portal. Some people have really come from far places. Mommy, now catch me say ofi pokwase na baha. Na ade na ofi pokwase to na wabahan mu say.
Atam be a meya nintam. Na dimba be di ha no.
Okay. Okay. Ubedu hanom no ekosen.
Na de be du ha no de enkokola. Enko. Music system ni nyanti na enko be bia. Ene e ba no pa da so gina ha be pem same.
Let's just say where Jeffy, where Juma ne bibia.
Majuma ne bibia wa ba be gina ha no.
Juma be na we.
Ben waduane me ton mo.
Okay. Let's just say na de won ton mo no no.
Da bi na me nya adwuma ne.
Na say went to me anye ne na just say Monday we san be bi mo.
Monday de meet me ma. Na ye madwuma.
Be wa adwuma no. Na almost 1 year registration I will sim no e be block no.
Da me say nya ho bi me ma ba be. It's Monday de. Blo nya itimi break it ni na me de ye me lunch. Na me de ye nti me nya kwa na ma anya de a. Monday me ye madwuma. Me ma.
Nti ka omunya kwan bi so anka e bia wo fie na wa ye ade na nka umba all the way to the office anka be.
Ye nya ne sa so akepe. Ye ni fie ni ye mpie ni ye be ama ye fie so a. Ke pe ni aye no ho no ma na ne. Baby a be mi bia so na makoye bi. Me mfro ka na metimbe.
I'm just hearing this man saying that he stopped the SIM card registration. This woman is saying that she's coming all the way from Pokwase, by the way, and she has to, stop working. She sells food, but today she's not doing that. But we'll go back to selling food on Monday because this entire Christmas she's not been selling. Boss, you're saying that you're going to stop registering your card all the time?
Chairman, definitely. If today you're able to do it, maybe definitely we will stop. You won't do it. We'll go to space and then do our normal calls as during that time we do it. Because if we see how the service is not working, we are supposed to go to work today, but because of the same registration, we are here, we've left everything in the house. You see, it's going against us. So the MTN operators need to work on that so that we can able to register our SIM again with our Ghana card. That's what I can say for now.
And so generally, and MAPS is the same sentiment all across this entire queue here at the Ring Road branch of the MTN. And indeed, for a lot of them, it's gotten really frustrating and we'll be trying to, get some responses. We're told that the platform that is being used for the registration is actually an NCA, controlled platform, which we're told by the, customer service officers here at MTN that the system is down. We don't know when the system will come back up, but for now, everybody is staying put. Those who have strong legs are still standing. Those who don't are sitting, waiting for the system to come back up and running.
Well, let's get an understanding of why this system is so slow and creating this situation. Joining me for this conversation is Desmond Israel, who is a lawyer and data security analyst. He joins us via phone. Desmond, I'm grateful for your time. And Derek Lai is also an expert in telecommunications and has worked with the telecoms chamber. I'm grateful for your time, Derek and Desmond.
Thank you.
All right. Right. So, Derek, let's start with you. Let's understand what has happened. What's your reading of what has happened with the SIM registration and with the deadline that has been given for March 2022, and there's total chaos everywhere? Hello, Derek. Hello, Derek. Hello, is Desmond? Hello, Desmond?
Okay, yes, I'm here.
Right. I'm asking what your reading of what has happened is with this SIM registration with a deadline of March 2022.
Okay. So initially, I thought the question was directed at Derek. My apologies. So for starters, I think that we are not only dealing with the issue which I had earlier on indicated should be a problem with data silos, which I'll go into that as we go on. But I also think we are dealing with system inefficiency. And for those of us in system design at this enterprise magnitude, there are actually 4 things that were supposed to have been taken care of. Compliance, security, availability, and performance. So where we are likely dealing with a system that is overwhelmed by the numbers, a system that has not integrated its modules properly. So most likely when you start make some entry, it crashes because it's not able to process some of those things appropriately. And that all comes into maybe user acceptance testing, which means that someone should have done some rigorous testing on the application before it goes live. These are not conjectures. These are actually things that happens on the field, which is required to have been done. So if we already have an application that is not loading, the user says it crashes, it can't come up. At a point, they've not got connection, it's off link. All these things will go down to a proper system design and also looking at the 4 risks that I have identified, which comes with every technology implementation, i.e. you look at the security of it, you look at the compliance posture of it, you look at the performance of that system, and you also look at the availability of it. And clearly we are having issues with availability and performance because since the registration started, that's the challenge that we're having. And if you were to do an analysis about everything else from the user experience all the way to even the hosting of the application, you likely will know that the bottlenecks are on the application side. From the interviews that were also done by your reporter, it's also clear that you have the agents and the some of the telco representatives also pointing out that this application does not belong to them, belongs to the NCA. And therefore, the other question is, what do we seek to achieve with having a separate application called the SRA, which is SIM registration application, collecting the same information that the NIA platform that has already collected, which is another point I made in the morning, that actually sends us back, which is the issue of data silos and data bureaucracies and institutions trying to hold on to data. They may or may not be the case, but this is what we can glean from everything else that is happening with these whole validation of biometric information and all that. Now, having said that, I would have thought that instead of trying to do the biometric identification all over again, where we go in there and we have to, give out the biometric information again, this biometric information is stored on our cards. It's actually with the with the NIA at first glance. Now, if the NIA system has been, clearly properly developed, then I would have anticipated that we would have maybe what we call application program interface components to hit the database without necessarily migrating the database to the NCA, and then we use a biometric authentication process rather than the identification process, because clearly under the authentication process, what we seek to achieve is that the data that is already there would be run against a reference module. So it's much faster and easier. It would have probably dealt with these application bottlenecks, trying to bring the application up all over again and all that. And also would have dealt with the data silo issue where we have multiple data sitting everywhere. I mean, every institution that is doing biometric registration is sort of like doing these on their own. I don't know at which point we want to do the integration, but if we were to do our homework well, we clearly should have designed a system to deal with these issues that we are having now. And that's the problem that I have with it as a professional. I'm failing to accept the explanation that, we'll fix it as we go. Does it look like something that we anticipated? we are at the end where is a near failure, you understand, in terms of timelines and in terms of efficiency of the system, which has been designed to do this job. And like I said earlier, let's look at the situation elsewhere as well. The HADA, which has been done in India, Estonia, all these people have done these projects, and they have the reference case. And why we will not choose the best case module, it beats my imagination. But clearly, I don't think that we are only dealing with a one-sided issue of data silos. We are also dealing with an issue of application inefficiency, and it's clearly showing from the use of it.
Desmond, I'm curious to know how much of importance it is for us to link our SIM to the Ghana card.
Extremely important. I take it from the angle where we are trying to digitize the economy and leverage on information, the information era, trying to make sure everything sits on a digital platform. If you have the mobile ID, or what they also call the EID, you can check reference with the ITU. I think they have a module on it. Not too sure about the publication date, but they have a module on the key challenges and the use cases that comes with some of these platforms. And I can tell you that, yes, we need it. The argument is not whether we should do it or not. We have to. The argument is, how are we doing it? How are we approaching these things? Are we doing it, within the appropriate means? Are we taking all the key issues into consideration? Because look, the next time we are going to queue again to deal with this when it comes to another integration with another system, because the fundamental issue of how do we integrate with all other databases is either not discussed and someone is not implementing it, or clearly is missing in the whole conversation as to where we are going. So we need to link our Ghana card to our mobile numbers. It creates a unique ID. Yes, I know my security guys will start talk about the risk of unique IDs, but it is relevant. It will help with our payment. It will help with our information economy. It would give us one single point of authentication. At some point, you might not even need to use your Ghana card to authenticate. You might have to use a national mobile app, which is synced to your EID, and you can authenticate. So it is a relevant exercise. The problem is how we are approaching it.
Now, and I'm happy you talked about the NI cards and all the issues that we're having, because the bigger challenge has been that many people do not have their Ghana cards ready. The telcos themselves seem overwhelmed with the number of people they've had to deal with. Is it feasible to meet the March 2022 deadline?
At the rate at which we are going, I do not see how we're going to meet that deadline. And I don't have the records of it as to how many SIM registrations we would have to have done. I wish my colleague Derek was on the call, maybe he would have given us the specific numbers. But I mean, guesstimates, if we are doing, at this rate, I'm not sure how much the telcos have been able to cover. And March is probably just 2 months away, tentatively about 60 or maybe 70 days away. If we continue like this, we are not going to meet that deadline. I think the most realistic thing to do for starters, this, extend the deadline for starters. Then move on to the next stage where each telco should go into discussions with the NCA about queue management so that we can go by appointment. Because clearly the system is overwhelmed. I don't know why we don't want to get to the point where we would say that we are overwhelmed. We need to take a step back and reprogram how we are going forward. Cut down the numbers. That goes to various centers, depending on the capacity we can take. Use appointment stickers or appointment notes or appointment via SMS because you have the base record which you need already. And then, of course, get everybody to go at a particular point in time and then space the deadline out a bit. Probably some 2 or 3 months more, halfway down the year. That is on condition that we are fixing the bottlenecks, so that we'll be able to get there. If we stick to the deadline we have now, we've created 2 problems already. There's a rush hour for the registration, and then we have a system inefficiency which is not able to absorb the rush hour. So that is where you are going to have the clear technical challenges, which I keep saying will not be washed away with any amount of talking.
So ideally, what should be the situation or the direction with regards to dealing with SIM cards and protecting our data at the same time?
Okay, so a number of things will come into play. For starters, I still fail to see why we are going to have a separate application collecting our biometric data. That information is so sensitive, even under the Data Protection Act, it needs some sort of specialized attention. Well, I understand that data protection is a stakeholder in this project, so I would think they know best. But clearly, if you're collecting biometric data as a country, why are we collecting it in multiple places? For me as a security person, that's what I'll tell you is a multiple attack surface. There are biometric data scattered all over the place. If I don't get it from A, I may get it from B, depending on what security posture they have there. Secondly, we need to have a national security architecture, probably led by industry plus the Cybersecurity Authority or any of those agencies in conjunction with the NIA, develop the security architecture that is going to guide how we store this data. And it's going to include from the collection, from collection, transit to storage. And different levels of security controls are going to come into play. Encryption, principle of least privilege, who accesses the data at what time, what privileges do they have when they access the data, and then various policies that would govern it. So indeed, it's a long haul. I don't think it is late. Like I said in the morning, it might be a little too late right now because I would have thought that the system would have been designed to take care of these shocks, including integrating it to the NIA to avoid us from collecting the information all over again, which is what we are doing. And it's just not right. We're creating this problem for ourselves.
For me, Desmond Israel, whilst I pick some comments on Facebook, because look, a lot of people are overwhelmed. They are worried that they've joined queues, long queues all day, all week, getting their SIM cards to be registered to no avail. And a lot of comments are on Facebook right now. I'll read a few of them for you. And that's what we put there on our Facebook page. We'll get the messages shortly and I'll share them with you. But also we are asking you to join via the meeting ID provided on the screen and the passcode on your screen so that you can share your experience with us. Francis Kwao says, I used less than 15 minutes to register mine at my hometown during Christmas season. I'm now going back to Kumasi, which I tried to register there, but to no avail. So in the village, it was better, but in the cap, well, maybe the pressure is in the capital. Always, that's from Kobe Eben. He says, I'm always of the view that Ghana should be given back to our colonial masters. The black man has shown it multiple times that he cannot manage even a poultry farm. So because the telcos know that phones have been part of us and that we can't embark on, okay, so there's more of that, but he's basically talking about you know, how the system is not functioning well. Desmond, let me bring this back to you, Desmond. The first person who sent that comment says that in the village, he did it better. But when he came to Kumasi, it was difficult for him to get it done. What could be the challenge?
Okay, so when you have application with multiple access, you likely can have this issue. At the enterprise level, when you develop application, you anticipate that they are going to have the same experience. But it is hampered by stress in terms of, when we say stress, we mean the usage, the number of people accessing that particular module of the application at a particular point in time. So that could impact the way the application performs. We could also have the issue of network. Network sometimes also called latency, which actually means the load that is on that particular route to the application. So we could likely have the situation that he's describing. Less number of people at the environment would also means less human stress to the people that are actually in charge at that particular location. So if you take me through the entire value chain, I can tell you that there are bottlenecks along the line, depending on how the application is actually developed. But for you to have the application failing to work appropriately as required, and I'm sure it's probably part of the system design that this application would work with maybe 99.9 efficiency, and we are having way less than that at this point in time. Clearly, we are dealing with a situation where the application itself must be looked at, because we could have the performance issue almost driving down to what we call application logic, as in how the application thinks, how the application behaves, you know, and that could also hamper how the application works. At this stage, we are not likely to think about any external third party maybe tampering with the process or tampering with the performance of the application, unless, of course, the owners of the application come out to make such a disclosure. But at this point, I think the real issue has to do with how the application itself is designed to do its work.
Desmond, stay on for me, and I'm hearing that some people are joining via Zoom. Kindly mute your audio and then turn your video landscape. When I mention your name, then you can put on your audio, but you can put on your video as well, so you can join this conversation. Let me bring in Felix, who has joined. You can now turn on your audio, and I'm sure your video is on, then we can have a conversation, Felix. Hello, Felix. All right, so Dekura is also on with us. Dekura. Hello, Dekura. Hello, Dekura. Okay, hello, Desmond. Hello, Desmond.
Hello?
Yes. So,
Elisha.
yes, so we are already at this crossroad. What's the way forward from here? Because we've agreed, yes, Desmond, we've all agreed that it's important to link our information to the Ghana card for security reasons. But, I mean, you say you are not happy with the way it's being managed. What's the way forward from here?
Okay, so we've already started this process, and it's very difficult for you to request a scrap of a process that I've started, unless we are really at a point where, you know, there's no turning back, but then we need to clear this. But I think that I've made one point earlier. You see, we are now there. We are trying to pick up this information again. Why we are doing it again, as in getting another silo of the same data that we should have leveraged from the NIA, I'm not too sure. But if we are in the position to actually allow the biometric authentication, which, like I said, is basically confirming the data that is sitting at the NIA already, yes, I think we should explore that part. And in doing so, we might also bring in what we call the liveliness test. Depending on what sort of authentication we want to do, we can do some sort of liveliness test. So people can maybe upload some sort of information about themselves through a selfie, maybe through the application at their own convenience, which would also maybe cut down the the load that goes in there. But like I said, this is all dependent on whether the initial design can facilitate some of the things that I'm proposing. On the other side, like I also indicated that there should be a conversation around queue management and then setting appointments and extending the timeline, which would definitely reduce the stress that goes on now. It would give engineers time to also figure out what their problems are, what the bugs are, so they can fix them, whilst you still have some people doing the registration. Unfortunately, you'll be using them as guinea pigs, but it's better to be doing a UAT whilst you are going than being live now and having all these issues that we are having, which is not even giving us a 50% of the progress that I anticipate we will be getting with this registration. So apart from looking at the system design, I think we also should go back to the queue management and setting this into some sort of appointment and extend the deadline.
As we all agree that the deadline is not feasible, I mean, how much time do we need to get this fixed, roughly?
Okay, so again, this conversation, especially if you want to anticipate timelines, and again, with an experienced project consultant, you can never give timelines when the problem solvers are not part of the conversation, because they can anticipate, especially with the engineers and the system analysts there, they can anticipate and tell you that, listen, we can get this fixed in a week. If we can get it fixed in a week, because we've had an issue with it before, if I were a project manager, I would have said that, okay, let's go for an additional quarter, because I would prefer to finish earlier than hit a deadline which I'm not able to meet. So if it's feasible to fix the issue we are having now within a week or two, I would say that let's take 3 more months ahead. So we can actually put the deadline in the middle of the year, hoping that we will do queue management, we will do system fixes, do some few twitches here and there, and then accommodate the stress whilst we go on.
I'm grateful for your time. Desmond Israel, he's a cybersecurity consultant, and he's been sharing with us why the deadline is not feasible and how better we can manage the situation. But he agrees it's important that we link the Ghana card to our SIM cards for security reasons.